The United States Revolution, the American Revolution, added something. That the bringing in capitalism, unleashing the colonial economy from its fealty to the British Empire, would bring us democracy. We would get democracy. And you know, in America, democracy is our religion. We invoke it 10 times an hour, or else we feel something's missing in our lives. So let's talk about democracy and whether capitalism has delivered it or not. Now you see the next step of the criticism. We've talked about inequality, now we're going to do democracy. All right, by democracy, I need to tell you what I mean. It's when a decision affects you, democracy insists you must have a role in making that decision. You know, we get to vote on the mayor of our town because we know the mayor makes decisions that affect us as residents, and so we have some power, at least to vote for the fellow or the woman or not. Like we vote for a senator or president or anything else. So in our neighborhoods, we understand that democracy means if we're affected by a decision, we have power over it. We participate in the decisions that affect our lives. Okay, let's go now. We're gonna get up in the morning like most of us do on a weekday, 5 out of the 7 days. We're gonna brush our teeth, put pomade in our hair, and go to work. And we're going to cross the threshold into the workplace. The factory, the office, the store, it doesn't matter. And now let's follow what happens there over the best hours of the day, the 8 hours of the day, 5 out of the 7 days of the week. Somebody tells you where to stand, where to sit, what to do, with what equipment, in what way, for how long. And at the end of the day, when you've poured your brains and muscles into producing something, you're told to go home and leave what you produced there. And if you take it with you, people in blue uniforms come to your house and they hurt you. Which you know, which is why you don't take except the occasional stapler. Right? Right? There's no democracy in the workplace in capitalism. There never was. What are you talking? You're being told by what? Typical American works for a corporation. That's what does most of the business. Corporations are run by a group of people called a board of directors. They typically have somewhere between 12 and 20 people on them. They're elected by the shareholders. And since 10% of Americans own 80% of the shares, a tiny number of Americans selects the board of directors. You, as the employee, don't. You don't have any power over the people that will decide what you produce, how you produce, where you produce, and what is done with the fruits of your labor. You're just a drone. And at the end of the day, you're to go home, stuff yourself with pizza and beer, and come back tomorrow and do it all again. Something you've noticed which is making you feel that your job is a burden, not something you look forward to. There's no democracy in the workplace, and there never was. That's not how capitalism is working. Never did. Well, let's see now. Where do adults spend most of their waking life? At work. If you believe in democracy, that's the first place you would have instituted it. But you don't, and you never did, and you don't even question it. The United States is bringing democracy to other countries. You can't bring what you don't have. What are you talking about? This country has made a fetish of democracy in the community, in the residents. But in large part, it's a guilty conscience because it's missing from the work life. And what possible excuse is there? Either you believe in democracy or you don't. And if you think there's a moral principle that people affected by a decision have to be able to participate, well, here's a decision at the workplace. You're fired. Here's another one. Your salary's being cut. Here's another one. You're going to work the 4 a.m. to 9 shift from now on. You know, many of you have gone through this. You're free to go and do it again with another employer. Come on. There's no democracy in the workplace. There never was. Capitalism didn't bring us democracy. Nothing like it. And when you hear some pompous jackass tell you about capitalism and democracy, remember, it's a jackass.